Taking a break from preparing for global sociology. What should I watch? The Voice.
Hope you all like my little skit. But in reality, I do watch The Voice, and I really like the show. I've been watching it from its first season. I like how the celebrities interact with everyday people. I like the singing. I like all of it. And then after a couple of seasons, The Voice went global. I don't really know how I felt about the show, its individualist qualities, how it begins sort of with a group and then elevates to one person. I didn't know how I felt about it going global. And then I noticed that all over the world, Voice, the shows that were being produced, really took on the flavor of the country it was in, the culture that it was reflecting. I begin with the example of the show The Voice to tackle a debate around the globalization of culture as cultural homogenization or cultural heterogenization. Cultural homogenization is explained by Arjun and other media scholars as a sort of Americanization or westernization of culture, starting from the US or the West and spreading all over the world. This isn't a new idea. Historians cite the idea of print capitalism and the spread of books and images, maps about colonies in the past being written by colonizers and those who were traveling the Arab world or China um, as one way of saying a story about a culture. Edward Said called this idea Orientalism, where lots of European ideas about the Arab world really originated from the books that they read. Now, homogenizing culture has the effects of deterritorializing an experience. Meaning, for example, in the Philippines, there's this canal that was created to mimic Venice, the gondolas in Venice, the boat ride. And you can even see that in Las Vegas, in Venice itself. And deterritorialization means that the world's culture has been so homogenized that, you experience one thing, but it's not tethered to a particular time or place. And that's what cultural homogenization does. It makes everything sort of the same. Cultural heterogenization offers the idea that globalization doesn't just make culture all one or all the same. It argues that maybe various centers of cultures make differences in those particular cultural movements. So, for example, the voice in Asia Pacific has a little bit of a different sort of Asian um, sensibility towards it than the voice in Europe or the voice in Latin America. More importantly, Appardurai argues that cultural heterogenization doesn't give priority to the West or America. Some places, like Korea, that has had colonial histories with Japan, might be more concerned about the Japanization of their culture than the Americanization of their culture. They might prefer Americanization over a sort of old colonial power, the Japanese, coming to influence their modern day culture. To understand these global flows, Appardurai offers us a global cultural flow model in the idea of scapes. He talks about ethnoscapes, the movement of people, finance scapes, the flows of money and speculation of capital, the media and ideoscapes, the spread of media and its corresponding ideologies and values in that movement, and technoscapes, the flows of advancements and developments in technology. Apparudai's introduction of these scapes in these different ways really is one way he's arguing that the globalization of culture isn't simply homogenization. It doesn't simply make everything the same. Global cultural flows uses a variety of tools um, from cultural homogenizations in ideoscapes, mediascapes, technoscapes that essentially create what Arjun Appardurai calls difference in global culture. And this operates under the idea of disjunctures, where different regions of the world specify a global cultural trend towards a particular time, culture, and region. Reading from the last sentence of the book, Appadurai writes, the critical point is that both sides of the coin of global cultural process today are products of infinitely varied mutual contexts of sameness and difference on a stage characterized by radical disjunctures. I end here because I want to say that global cultural flows does make things the same, but it also has these really unique characteristics of difference. In your flip grid this week, I'd like for you to respond to how Planet B Boy speaks towards sameness and difference. And I'd love to hear your feedback on, does the world's global culture really make everything the same, or does it really persist with difference? Until next time.